on Amazon, and he needed a part for his refrigerator. He explained became broken while he and Kimberly were having sex. So that's where the genesis of that story. Bob Cesca has very vigorous sex in the refrigerator.
Okay. I'll also say I don't think I've ever received an eye injury doing what you were doing. That's never ever happened. Although
people have asked for a master class for straight men, which I will. You can definitely put Stephanie in the box. What?
See, now I have to bear in mind that my mom listens, so I'm trying to think. Like I was about to blurt something very, very personal about my sex life, and now I'm going, oh man, should I really say that?
Your mom's not up. Your mom's not up.
No, she's not up yet. She's not up yet.
There was one time where I almost passed out.
Good for you.
I almost lost consciousness.
You need to remember to breathe every once in a while, Bob.
We gals appreciate.
I know.
Gals appreciate the effort.
Mistake.
A for effort, Bob.
Yeah, I know. That shows my stick-to-itiveness. But I finished.
Good.
Finish the job. Yes,
I did too, and may I just say, multiple times. So it was presumably worth it now that everything's fine.
And Bob, your mom is proud of you for finishing.
Yes.
Boy.
Oh God, I'm going to hear about this later.
That's how you know you're in a blue state in a blue city. The female doctor's like, good for you.
Yeah, it's outstanding work. Yeah. Well, see, anyone should be applauded for doing that. It's so seldom that it happens. Well, at least in the straight community.
Having very vigorous oral sex.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh boy.
All right. Yeah, boy. Hi, Bob. Good morning.
Hi. Hey, how we doing?
Listen, I'm trying to also distract from the Rudy Giuliani. Oh God.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm doing. I've been relentlessly rinsing my mouth out. I don't know about anyone else, but after reading that document, I'm like, I've been just like, I've gone through 3 bottles of Listerine, just like, oh my God, this is so disgusting.
And that's just for your eyes.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
We need ear wash and eye wash. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Anyway,
so for the duration of the segment, can I just call you my daughter? We're just going to pretend. What was that?
Oh,
that doesn't sweeten the deal with Rudy. I can't imagine being that self-confident. I mean, that's some serious drinking confidence right there that he's got. That he propositioned someone to take a shower with him.
Yeah.
If I'm Rudy, I'm not going anywhere near nudity. Like, it's just more layers, Rudy. Layers upon layers. Keep adding layers. Layers between you and other human beings. That's the important rule.
Yeah, and of course, like I was saying, there's always the gold in the pile of pony poop. You're like, oh, selling pardons. There's the crime.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God.
There we go.
See? Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how that goes. I hope that Merrick Garland was paying attention to that. I hope the Internal Revenue Service was paying attention to that $1 million transfer that he had his friend, whoever, Jim or whatever it was, take care of for him.
Yeah. And I love you were all over the whole Durham report, BS. It's so ridiculous. It's a giant nothing, taxpayer funded nothing burger, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
that's all they require.
You said, we know that Russia flooded the internet with disinformation to help Trump win. We know that numerous Trump operatives were in contact with Russians and, by the way, got convicted for it and went to jail for it. Hello. We know that Trump had a significant business interests in Russia. We know that Trump loves him some pooty poot. You were retweeted Barb McQuaid, who said the Durham report provides fuel for the false claim that the Russia probe was a hoax. Don't fall for it. While Mueller had no conspiracy, he concluded that Russia worked to help Trump become president. And again, as we've said over and over, Bob, the only reason he couldn't get to conspiracy is because there was so much obstruction, which is also in that report and in the Senate intelligence. Mm-hmm. But you just said Republicans only need the phony patina of wrongdoing, the House investigation of Biden, Trump's demand that Ukraine merely announce the investigation of Burisma, now Durham. Actual results are irrelevant. I mean, it's like this farce that's going on now with James Comer and his missing informant, whistleblower, whatever, right?
Yeah. They just need that hint of some sort of wrongdoing that they can say, see, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Look what they are doing. And that's all that's required. And then all of the red hats go bananas and extrapolate from there. Yeah. You don't really need to do much if you're a Republican leader in this country. You can just kind of say, hey, look at that guy. Look at that guy, Hunter Biden. And then everyone goes, oh, my God, Hunter Biden. There must be all kinds of things. And it's the same with Joe Biden. It was the same with Zelensky and Burisma. They just needed those guys to pretend that they were having an investigation so they could say, look, investigation, and then exploit that opening, and everyone runs with it from there. That's the whole idea of it. They don't need results. They don't need actual evidence. They don't need informants, as the case may be.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, Biden investigation.
Also, I'm glad you mentioned this too, because it drives me crazy. Malcolm Nance would talk about this if you weren't on a secret mission, Bob, doing God knows what. But you about the Steele dossier. So you retweeted Barb McQuaid on that. In fact, some aspects of the Steele dossier were confirmed by Mueller and the DNI. Putin favored Trump, was working to influence the election in Trump's favor and against Clinton. It also contained unconfirmed information that could have seriously compromised Trump as president. And you said, additionally, some of the dossier, I believe the same information Barb mentions below, was confirmed by Richard Burr and the Republican Senate Intelligence Committee. So, first of all, it's raw intelligence. Mm-hmm. So everyone knows that means some of it obviously was confirmed. Some of it was unconfirmed, meaning not that it's not true. It just couldn't be confirmed, right?
Yeah. Well, we certainly have plenty of evidence of Trump operatives meeting with Russians. We have evidence of Donald Trump doing business in Russia, whether it was planning for the Trump Tower Moscow project or the many loans. I mean, we've got, who was it, Don Jr. or Eric on record talking about all the Russian money they're taking in.
They just busted in, what is it, the Trump Towers in
Miami.
Miami. They just busted two other guys for money laundering. Russians for money laundering, because of course they go to Trump properties, because that's been happening forever. I mean, it's just...
Oh, yeah. It's very clear what was going on. I mean, the Russians hacked the DNC. I mean, there's been discussions about how the Russians also hacked the RNC as well. But that's where everything kind of got started. And then there was that just enormous disinformation campaign throughout that summer leading up to the election, where Russia was just flooding the social media platforms with all of this anti-Hillary disinformation with the specific intent of electing Donald Trump. Now, we haven't been able to track down any sort of one-to-one relationship, although George Papadopoulos comes a little close to the disinformation campaign through that Australian. But the fact of the matter is that we don't have a connection between Donald Trump and the disinformation campaign other than intent, other than, the obvious.
Russia, if you're listening. Yeah.
Exactly. Donald Trump loves Vladimir Putin. In fact, Donald Trump loves Vladimir Putin so much, he wants to be Vladimir Putin. He wants to be the American Vladimir Putin. I'm convinced of this, that if Donald Trump becomes president, he is going to do what he needs to do with his allies on the Hill to make him president for life, just like Vladimir Putin.
Yep.
That's kind of, I think, the end game in all of that.
Speaking of Russian disinformation, Elon Musk, you tweet,
oh boy,
isn't the free speech absolute as he claims to be? After being pressured by the autocratic Erdogan regime, he deliberately restricted Twitter access for opposition accounts in Turkey's elections. Why? And what will this mean for elections in 2024? And you just said Captain Free Speech here would rather silence the opposition side of Turkey's election than have his overpriced investment blocked for both sides.
Yep.
Wait till there's a Republican president here. Some of you think I'm being hyperbolic about the threat of this a-hole. You're wrong. Talk to us about that a little bit, because you've been very vocal about it.
Yeah, I want to be entirely clear about the point of this story and why I and some other people are covering it. It's not about the Turkey elections. Obviously, we'd love to see more robust democracies in places like Turkey. But this is more about our elections coming up, 2024 specifically, and the fact that Elon Musk, who's got some shady investors in his Twitter project, his overpriced Twitter project, has got a strong potential to engage in a similar kind of behavior that we saw in 2016, where all kinds of disinformation was allowed to flood platforms like Twitter and Facebook. We all know the story. We're just talking about it in the context of 2016 and the Russia disinformation campaign. And with this in particular, this could be a situation where Elon Musk, at the behest of whoever, or maybe just out of whimsy, after all, he thinks the Democrats are suffering from a woke mind virus or whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's entirely possible for Elon Musk to throttle the accounts of Democratic or liberal activists and so on, candidates and what have you. This is evidence of that sort of thing. And then, specific to the Turkey elections and the outcome of those elections, we're going to a runoff on May 28th with that. There was a story from 16 months ago that may give us some motivation for Elon Musk's decision to throttle these accounts. And that is, he did a deal with the Erdogan regime to produce SpaceX rockets for the Turksat 6A satellite.
Yeah.
Which is a big deal for SpaceX and the nation of Turkey. So there may be financial incentives for Elon to keep the Erdogan regime in power through this election. And that may have contributed partly to it.
1 degree of dirtbag separation. The headline yesterday was Elon Musk subpoenaed in Jeffrey Epstein case in the U.S. Virgin Islands. Our friend Noel Kassler said, Elon Musk is going to be like, how can I be anti-Semitic if I let Jeffrey Epstein find me one of my young brides?
Oh my God. He did an interview yesterday where I think there was something like, he was asked about the conspiracy theories he tweets out. Yeah. And there was something like a 12-second pregnant pause.
Saw that.
Just
awkward.
Glorious moments where you can see the wheels just grinding. There was like one of those little cymbal clappy monkey toys.
I saw that.
Clapping, cymbals clapping away. And so he finally came, some conspiracy theories turned out to be real. And so, by the way, that was my first attempt at an Elon Musk.
That was fantastic. That was really good, Bob. Really, really good. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. But yeah, obviously he gave
like
the
Oscar
same answers
Pistorius.
Most of those guys do. Yeah. Some conspiracy
Oscar
theories
Pistorius like that swallowed like a bunch of marbles. That's what that sounded like. Could you do it again?
Yes, it's like, it just goes like this. Some conspiracies turned out to be real. I know, that's horrible.
Rebel.
That's horrible. You need to get Carlos on immediately to do some real impressions here in a second.
We'll develop it. We'll develop it.
Bob, here's the thing about you and my sexual mishaps. At least we're having sex. You tweeted, breaking, a group of called Patriot Front are currently marching toward the U.S. Capitol. And you said incel cowards playing dress 'em up. Thank you. At least we don't cosplay and we have real sex with real people.
Can I emphasize and congratulate that guy Joe Flood on the bicycle with the bullhorn? This is the greatest thing. I think that is the greatest thing since that guy who stands outside the courthouse with the giant signs that say traitor when Paul Manafort was coming in and out. He was standing, the same guy was standing behind George Santos during a press conference holding a giant sign that said lies, and it was right over Santos's head.
It was the timing.
It's a great thing.
Any comedian would appreciate the timing. Every time there was a pause when he was reading, it's like, no one in your high school liked you. Like it was just,
yes.
Your mother doesn't love you.
Yeah. With that guy, that's exactly how these people need to be treated.
Yeah.
What you need to do, the best thing to do with Patriot Front and whatever's left of the Oath Keepers and the Proud Boys is to point and laugh at them, because they're, you know what, ultimately, beyond the fascism, beyond the white supremacy, oh my God, they're hilarious.
Yeah.
Just these so-called self-proclaimed alpha males with their little masks on and their little matchy uniforms that don't actually match.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. You and it is actually sometimes hard to believe that you and Travis ever get any sex, because you are, even though you're hot, like eye candy men, hot hunks of men, you're also 100% nerd.
Yes.
Yes, you retweeted, you can pull one piece of technology from the Star Trek universe and bring it to our reality. What are you taking? And you, of course, Bob, said warp drive, which brings with it dilithium and sustainable matter, antimatter energy.
Yes.
Would you like to have a moment with your nerd friend?
He's absolutely right.
Yeah, and I took 5 minutes to think about that answer too, which I rarely do on Twitter. Usually I just blurt.
Yeah.
And so like, okay, I want to be able to get this answer right, because I need some Star Trek cred, because I'm doing a Star Trek podcast coming up
with
soon.
Mary Trump.
Yeah, with Mary Trump.
Yeah,
it's called Trek Politics.
Yeah.
Beginning next month.
Oh, well, tell your other nerd friend we said hi. Yeah.
I will do that.
I am very excited about this podcast.
I'm sorry the title Revenge of the Nerds is already taken, but okay.
Yeah. Well, we've got Terry Matalas, the executive producer and showrunner from Picard season 3, on our first episode.
No, it's very exciting. It's going to be very exciting.
Yes, we're going to talk about warp drive and how the antimatter matter reactions.
Big gaps in the producing of this show, because Travis will be like, Bob and Mary.
I'm busy listening to Bob and Mary. Their show's so much better.
I didn't get any sound bites.
Okay.
All your sound bites will be Star Trek clips from Bob and Mary's show.
Like
Great. Love you, Bob Cesca.
Get
the regular, Bob Cesca, the regular show, sexyliberal.com. We love you. Bye, Superman.